like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast for educators. And this is going to be an different type of podcast. I can just assure you that it will. Again, Voices of Integrity. Voices of Integrity is it's Voices of Integrity. So there's going to be some things that you might be offended by. You might get ticked off, you might get angry. We'll try to keep those into the latter. Like the first one or two, we'll try to be nice to you. Let's talk about the teachers first. We have a couple teachers on. And so a lot of the teachers, especially in the in the elementary schools, they're going to go ahead and be women. So let's go ahead and let's talk about women and teachers. Okay. Jennifer Tibbs, I remember her coming to me a number of years ago, I don't know, 7-8 years ago. And she said, Mark, I want to go and become a certified financial planner. And I said, okay. And she was in teaching. She taught 6th grade math. Not the easiest group of people to
but my favorite.
Is it? So
yeah,
Marissa's a little strange. She's a little strange, just is. You'll find that out very quickly. Doesn't take long. Right? What do you? I just want to spend time with 6th graders. Real teaching them math. Anyways, so I said to her, I said, okay, so that's what she was doing, and she was doing it in a private school. And this is where education, I'm not saying women are territory. I would never say that. You'll never hear me say anything derogatory about women. Love my mom to death. Been married to my wife for 40 years. I have 4 daughters and I have 6 granddaughters. And so women, love them, all different ages, love them all. But I'm a man. It's pretty clear. And so I do have some questions, and sometimes, I have social autism. If you're not sure about that, that'll be on a different podcast, not this one. But I do have some questions, and sometimes my wife says, and she's an educator, and she says, you can't ask that question. I'm like, I thought teachers were supposed to be nice. Like, I don't know. Like, and why can't I thought there were no dumb questions. Like, yeah, but you're 61 years old. You're not supposed to ask it. And I'm like, why? So I'm like a 3-year-old boy. So forgive me if I ask a question that seems offensive, because it's not. It's just I'm just curious, right? So, Marissa, with Jennifer Tibbs, getting back to that story. So she goes ahead, and I said, okay, so you want to be a financial planner, so you don't want to teach anymore? And she's like, no. I said, okay. And she said, my husband says it's okay for me not to. Okay. And I said, why do you want to get out of teaching? She says, I'm burned out. And I said, okay. And so we talked a little bit, and I'm like, why are you talking to me then? If you're going to get out and your husband's says it's okay, you guys are good. Oh, why are you talking to me? She said, because you would have a different perspective. And I'm like, all right. I said, well, I think that you might, I think if you did one more year, I think it would change everything for you. And she actually did that. She actually listened to me. I'm not saying women don't listen to me, and especially teachers. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying she listened to me, and she had the best year of teaching ever. So we developed what's called an action vision plan for her. And so we got the kids involved, helped them discover their life vision with their passion circle. So they drew a passion. So these are 6th graders, and she's teaching math. Right? But I said, no, if you get them passion. See, this is what I didn't like school, didn't like it a bit. Went to college, into business, got 3 degrees in business. Didn't like it though. If I'd have known that the Amish, a lot of them, they only go through 8th grade. I mean, they get 12th grade education, but they do it in 8th grade. They do it faster. Like, and so if I'd have known that, I would have asked my parents to join the Amish. I'm like, really? There's a way out there. So I didn't like school, didn't. And the reason is nobody connected what I was, what I was passionate. I wasn't passionate about reading or math or science, you know, recess, gym, it was okay. But nothing like none of the subjects really, interested me. And so I knew from a young boy that I was going to be a business guy. I just loved business all the way. Even in grade school, I knew, yeah, I'm going to grow up. I'm going to be a business guy. And nobody connected all of the topics into business. If a teacher would have said, Mark, you know, you you want to be a business guy? Yeah, I want to own my own company. It's like, do you know how important math is? No. Well, let me explain it. Do you know how important social studies is? Didn't know. Now I'm interested in all the topics. I really want to go back through grade school and middle school and high school all over again because it'd be a totally different experience. There's so many cool things. Like every topic relates to my passions, but nobody connected those dots for me. And so Jennifer went ahead and she just had all the students draw a circle. First day of class, all the students draw a circle, and then they listed all their passions. And then she did the personality assessment on them, and she got them excited, and she got the ones that were really good. Because that's a trick I learned. Like if you don't like something, like students, like if you don't like a topic, a subject, find somebody who likes it, and then ask them why. Say, why do you like social studies? Like, it's bad. Like you what? And then you go ahead and find, and they get excited. Like somebody who gets excited, they're excited about so. You ask them why. Like it's like that's weird, but something in their brain likes social studies. So if you go ahead and a student and you say, why do you? And this would be a great suggestion. You find for teachers, get the students who love whatever it is that you're teaching, get them up in class and tell why. And all of a sudden, that excitement. I never knew that. I never thought about it. So it's contagious. Worst case scenario, they like you because you're asking them why they like something. And so because they're passionate about it, and they'll help you. Like they'll help you learn and all kinds of stuff. It's interesting because I saw something strange. You can all interrupt me at any time. I saw something strange. I don't know where it was, but somehow I saw it this last week where they said throughout your whole educational experience, if you get, help in school, like testing, it's cheating. But in business, like if you go ahead and are taking a test and you get help from your neighbors, that's cheating. But in business, that's what you get help all the time. Like, I never thought of that before. That would have been cool to know. I'm not cheating. I'm just practicing for business by getting everybody else's answer. Anyways, so then she did all of that. And I mean, her class just it skyrocketed all the numbers. And what's weird, and I know all you educators that are listening, you're like, really, Mark? And I'm like, yeah, this really happened. It's a true story. And you're like, educators aren't like this. Like, and women definitely aren't like this. I can't believe this happened. This is a real life situation. You're making this up, Mark. I'm not. Like, so after a few months, like her class is skyrocketing and everything's going good. And you know what the other teacher said? They
What,
went
Mark?
to the principal and they complained, said, you got to stop Jennifer from doing that. And the principal's like, I can't. Her 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 tests are so great. And it's like, that's weird. Why would teachers, other women, why would teachers be upset with her? And what's interesting is she wasn't teaching the class. It was the students that were all helping and teaching. They were all learning, collaborating. They were having a great time. Everybody's learning. Test scores were high. It was crazy. Why would other educators like? It's almost like it's strange. It's almost like they might have been jealous, and it's like women aren't jealous, and educators like if there's like they're not like that. I mean, I would.
Well, and you have the element of now those teachers are going to be expected to also be matching or the same in some sense too. They're potentially causing complaining parents if their kid's not getting that. Like there's a whole I'm agreeing with you. Like I'm saying what the other educators see is they see the domino effect of I'm going to be expected to do this and I don't
It's
want
all, but it's all about the students. It's all about the kids. I mean,
to.
that's what all of it's about. It's not about the teachers. Like when they're making more money, it's all about the students. When they're getting better benefits, it's all about the students. When we have lower classroom size, everything's all about the students. And so, like, this is what I see in the news, and this is what I see in the branding and everything. And so I'm like, well, if it's all about the students, you want to find out how the one teacher's doing really well, so you all do better, so we can all serve the students. And so, are you saying, Maurice, like this is hard for me, like as a taxpayer, this is hard for me to try to understand and process that it might be like I just don't want to think about that. Like that just seems strange to me.
Yeah, I think that there's so much to unpack, and I'm definitely not that. That's not the case for me. I want to make sure that if there's something good in other teachers doing that, I'm also matching that. But I know that my
How long
class
have you been in teaching?
this is my third year.
Oh, that's probably the reason.
I've taught,
Another.
but I've taught a fifth and sixth grade combined class. I've taught second grade for a year and a half, pretty much. And I taught second through eighth grade gym and eighth grade and 10th grade health.
So
In
all the other teachers are like, oh, she's only been in it for 3 years. Give her another. She'll get tired. Like she'll learn the ropes. She's still this idealistic, she thinks, that she can actually make a difference. And she thinks, like, I used to be like her too. But at some point, the system broke me. At some point, the kids broke me.
You hear comments like that from teachers too when you're young. Like that's what other teachers will say. They'll be like, "Man, I wish I used to be like you. I wish I still was." And it's very interesting to hear, to be like, "Okay."
Thanks. Looking forward to it. Like, it's weird because Jennifer told me some, and she's like in the teacher's lounge. Like,
In college, I was told do not go in the teacher's lounge because that will change your entire perspective on teaching. Stay out.
see, this is starting to make me a little nervous. Like, this is starting to, wait a minute here. Like, you mean everything is all about the students? We're all about the students and we really care about the students. And so it's a little bit, I'm a little bit as a taxpayer. I mean, I'm kind of the customer. I'm paying for all of this. And I'm like, really? Anyways, Jennifer said like in the teacher's lounge, they used to laugh about how teachers are the worst students. And I'm like,
That's
well,
fair.
doesn't, that doesn't, it's weird because I don't know. Nobody really told me I was smart. None of my teachers, no teacher ever, not one ever said I was smart. My mom didn't say I was smart. Nobody told me I was smart until I turned 40. And then all of a sudden it's like everybody started telling me I was smart. And it's weird because when you go 40 years, and Marissa can't even imagine that. like, she can't even like 40 years, not one person in my life said I was smart. Then all of a sudden, everybody started telling me how smart I was. And what you're not supposed to do is laugh. Because if you laugh, because people want to think you're smart, otherwise they won't listen to you. And it's like, okay, so try not to laugh, Mark. And so I don't really think I'm very smart. And so, but it's interesting after 40, a lot of people would say, Mark, do you think you're the smartest person in the room? And I have social autism, so I thought it was a sincere question. I'm like, well, actually, I've thought a lot about that. And do you know who the smartest person in the room is? And I guess I was supposed to be offended or I don't know, something like, are you the smartest person in the room? I'm like, I don't know, but I do know I do know who the smartest person is. Who is it? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, don't you think about these things? And the smartest person in the room is the one who's the best student, because that person is always going to walk out with so much more. Now, there's a lot of people who think they're the smartest person. They talk a lot, but they didn't learn anything. And most everybody they talk to is just rolling their eyes probably and saying, man, I don't want to go into that room again or be around that guy or gal again. So yeah, this is going to be the radical educational enhancement podcast, or whatever it ends up being called. It's going to be an interesting journey. I think if you're a teacher, I think you're going to enjoy it. I think you're going to like it. I think that I sense, could be wrong, I sense that there is a lot of fear in teachers. They're afraid, and I'm not saying I wouldn't be either. I mean, sixth graders, man, gracious. And then, that from what I understand, I know a lot of teachers, and from what I understand, like, they're not even the most dangerous ones. Like, far more dangerous than the sixth graders are their parents.
Yes.
Like that, like even in 3 years, Marissa, oh yeah. The parents are like, what in the world? Like, whoa.
I think it would be a hard look in the mirror for some parents to realize that more often the source of burnout for teachers, which again, there's
Oh,
there's two categories of burnout. Category of burnout that is on the teachers and they like their own responsibility to change. And then I'd say there's the burnout that like sometimes genuinely does come, but that's a lot less in my opinion. Like there's a very different like why are you actually burning out? Is it because of your decisions and the way you're managing things and the way you're teaching and like that? Or is it like external factors and expectations that like you can't achieve? And that category, I would say, is 90% parents. And I don't think parents would like to necessarily hear that at times.
and
But
the only ones worse and more fearful was the kids, terrifying, like terrifying. Parents, terrifying times X. And the only ones more terrifying than the parents, it's the leaders. Like, it's even more so. It's like I can't try, like, it's just, but the leaders, they're having to deal with the school boards, and they're having to deal with the unions, and then they're having to deal with all of this kind of stuff. It's like, yep, can't figure out why we're having a challenge with teaching the kids. Like, don't know why. Like, it's a mystery to me. We need an expert to come in and explain this to us. So, yeah, and you can't say it's like, I'm glad, there's a good reason. Like, it's my social autism. I tend to be pretty direct to people. And so I probably wouldn't last very long, even though I have a disability. It's like, I thought you're supposed to treat me, but I'm a white male over 50, so it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't get any privileges, even if I have a disability. But I could see myself saying to a parent, because, it's like, this is going to help them, and say, I don't know how to say this nicely, but your kid is stupid. Like, now, well, I don't know if they're ignorant or stupid. It seems like they're stupid because I've explained certain things to them. And the parents are like, I have social autism, so, give me some room as my disability. And I said, I didn't know why they were stupid until I met you. Now I understand. And so I'm pretty sure that wouldn't go over good. Like,
no.
but there, it's like all of society and teachers. So I have a huge heart for teachers. I have to be honest. Union leaders, I struggle a little bit with. It's like, so you're not going to be okay, get rid of a teacher. So it's like, 10% of the teachers probably, they're bad, evil. They're destroying the whole reputation of the 90%. So you have your probably 80, 20, 90, 10 principle. So you have 10% of the teachers, that are just absolutely amazing. They're the ones that want the merit pay. Like, yeah, give me merit pay. like, like make it merit based on results. I'm good with that. And then you have, the 90% that are like, no, I don't want merit pay. It's like, and I don't want testing. So let me get this straight. You want to test your students, but you don't want to be tested. You don't want to be evaluated. And it's like, well, you don't want to have, all that stuff. And then you have 10% that's absolutely a mess. And so from my perspective, it seems to me that the union leaders, you don't protect the 10%. You're hurting the kids. And it's a little bit deceptive advertising. And with all the lawsuits that are happening, I would be terrified as a union. I mean, like, you can go ahead and sue for climate change or something like that, and sue these big companies. I mean, unions got a lot of money. I'd be afraid if I was a union. Like, what could happen in some class action lawsuit? You could bring these attorneys and go after the unions. It's like, it's a terrifying thought. Anyways, if you're a teacher, I think you're going to enjoy it, especially if you're in the top 10%. Which obviously you are if you're listening to this podcast, right? I mean, makes sense. And so get the other 90%. Don't tell them they're part of the 90%. Say you're part of the 10%. That's the only ones that listen to the podcast. If you're a principal, I think you'll like it. Again, if you're in the top 10% of the principals, you're going to love this because this is going to be different. I'm just going to tell you. If you're a leader, it could go either way. I'm not saying there's not 10% of leaders that are good. I'm not saying that like higher up in the, I'm just saying that, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not saying anything negative because I don't do that. But, share this with others. So we're going to come up with some practical ideas. Don't be like the 90% that have to understand everything before you do anything. Because what we're going to be sharing on here, I'm sorry, it wasn't taught in college. It just wasn't. So what you do is with all of your students, draw a circle. I mean, it takes, I don't know, a couple minutes. Draw a circle and have all of your kids list everything they're passionate about. Like everything they're passionate about. And if they're in kindergarten, they can't spell, it's okay. Or if they're in 7th grade and they can't spell, it's okay. Have them draw pictures, like draw pictures of what they're doing. I might have a weird sense of humor. Forgive my sense of humor. My heart hopefully covers for my poor sense of humor. And so, but you draw everything they're passionate about and then help them learn how to go ahead and connect whatever your subject. You do that and it'll change the entire everything. The whole year will be different because they'll look at your class as a different, they'll look and be excited. And so we all know, I mean, it doesn't take a college degree to realize if you can get your students excited about whatever they're learning, they're going to learn more. And I don't think any rules about we can't learn more. Pretty sure hopefully this will help pass this along to others. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.